Tales from my D&D campaign.
Previously,
Astral Plague has a nice ring to it. Goodbye, meatbags.
I must sacrifice myself.
Or we sacrifice 7.
Okay.
Durham has died!
Kill all the monsters! The portal. Everyone get down.
Well, that wasn't so bad. Checking with the plot diagram, they have fully explored Ginneron, found the missing steward, and the third spoon. They have a bunch of questions about the ancient Tataran portal, and a new grudge against the Dark Ancient Warforged. Also, they still want to follow up on the tip the halfling gave them about the war bond. But I'm sure we'll tie up some of those loose ends soon enough. The heroes are coming down from a lot of adrenaline after the non-explosion. They've lost some friends, gained a new one, they have some exciting loot, and some less exciting stuff they can sell for cash, or even disenchant to pay some of the XP costs when Draven's crafting them new gear. They have the guards help them search the area for the Dark Ancient who had dimension-doored away, but the only sign they find is a path made by something huge. A path they lose when it crosses a river. So they give up and head down to Don Horatio's estado on the Diamond Coast to rest, heal, shop, and, get the general hero treatment. And GE7 is like,
You have accomplished a lot. I admit I had some misgivings when I first saw you, running around with Kua teeth and fake troll jaws on your shield, but you...
Oh, those are real. GE7 does like a double take.
Are you insane? Huh?
We know they're indestructible and stuff. Somebody said they're bad luck, but whatever.
There's a reason troll jaws are to be avoided. Now I know which of your Ataran books I'll be translating first.
And from this one book he reads them a legend of how the sun god, Pelor, was destroyed in ancient times, and the evil god Delvosh managed to steal his domain over healing. Now every divine domain is split between 2 or more deities, so no one of them controls any aspect of reality completely. But scholars believe that when Delvosh gained partial power over healing, that is why some wounds leave permanent scars. A more frightening consequence, however, is that Delvosh used this power to change the nature of trolls. Trolls were always strong, brutish monsters with incredible powers of regeneration. That's why when you kill one, you have to burn its body with fire or acid to prevent it from coming back. But Delvosh warped them, turning their jaws into an anchor that ties them to the world of the living, making them true immortals. No one knows exactly how long it takes for a troll to recover from destruction, but they are renowned for their ability to resurrect themselves at the most lethally inconvenient times, making those jaws a great liability.
They can regenerate from just the jaw?
And the jaw is indestructible.
To defeat a troll is to gain an eternal foe for the rest of your days. We are fortunate they did not burst out while you fought the controller, or on that final bridge.
So little one tears the jaws off his shield, but they don't really know what to do with them. There's a lack of nearby volcanoes to hurl them into, so they're thinking of tossing him into the depths of the ocean. But even then, they aren't sure if they'd be hurting or helping the Diluvians if it turned out a troll could regrow underwater. They toss it in an extra-dimensional backpack for now. But they rest in town and then head to a feast Don Horatio is throwing in their honor. This raises another issue, though. When Don DiCorso sent his stewards team to explore Ginneron, there was an agreement to split the spoils with Don Horatio, who owns the land where the archaeological site was found. But the players didn't want to share the spoon, or Black's awesome new armor, or their potentially priceless books, or the other junk they wanted to sell to buy more useful magic gear. Now, when DiCorso sent them for the spoon and the rescue mission, there was no sharing clause in their contract. But they know that argument won't be very popular on this end, so they elect to simply claim they didn't find much of value and do a lot of fancy talking instead. The dinner is a private affair, only the party, the Don, a couple advisors, and 20 of the most important local dwarves. DiCorso's steward and Greypike attend, but GE7 is out talking to people and learning how the world has changed over the centuries, and they also leave Daggerface at the inn. For some reason. So the heroes present a bunch of semi-valuable antique tools and junk from the labs and storeroom, and their pièce de résistance, the dozen Kolos cloaks they looted off KTs down in Ginneron. They still had the ones from the Baab fight, they didn't really need any more, and they don't have a huge cash value since they only work for Kuatoa. And they tell their version of what happened, choosing to mostly emphasize how they defeated the evil Diluvians, and leaving out the stuff about the Ancients in such a way that the dwarves would assume the whole portal problem was Kua Commander's doing. No sense boring them with the water levels, or what happened with Temple 1. And a couple of speakers thank them for their bravery, and they're all impressed by the cloaks as trophies, because Diluvians aren't killed very often on land. Then the Don himself speaks, and Don Horatio starts by praising them in formal and flowery language, but quickly they clue in that he's speaking very carefully, and he's actually setting up the verbal groundwork to put the shiv in them, and basically blame them for the lack of loot and the whole magical radiation thing, which, according to them, makes it unsafe for anyone else to enter Ginneron. Screw that! How dare he?
It's not our fault. We saved the day, I think.
Yeah, all we've done is keep all our loot. And DeCorso Stewart puts in a few words for the brave men and Gnome who rescued him, but Horatio deftly brushes that aside as he subtly turns the room against them. So as soon as the party can get a word in edgewise, they leap into action. Draven begins by emphasizing the legitimate invasion threat posed by the Kuo-toa and the secret entrance they had found, and he starts chatting up Don Horatio's court wizard about the extra-dimensional beings and their implications, and gets him really into it, and then starts getting him on side about the dangers of the damaged overloading portal. And most of the other guests don't know anything about Arcana, and so they don't get bored. Black challenges the room, daring any of them, in his usual understated manner, to try and budge him. Wrestling is very popular among dwarves, and even out of 20 wealthy, important dwarves, you know a handful love to throw down. But Black activates the stability mode on his new armor, and that +4 bonus combined with his own massive strength allows him to stand his ground impressively. In most cases, he doesn't even have to strain, and they still can't budge him. Little One gets in on the wrestling a bit too, but then he and Angel give a rousing, animated retelling of the fight against Kua Commander and the other Diluvians. Then they go into the Baab battle, starting from the middle so they can leave out all that Warbond stuff. And the audience is really getting behind them, so Little One starts retelling his brutal duel with Marp, the Orc, all with Greypike backing them up and adding details, because even for the Orc fight, he'd been watching from the chasm's walls. And pretty soon they've won over the entire room, and Don Horatio and one of his advisors are like the only ones who are looking grumpy. But when the Don speaks again, he's given up on turning the dwarves against them, and gives them the genuine hero treatment. He presents each of them with one of these big fancy mugs with Horatio's house crest, the exact same ones they put out for big feasts like this. And then they are each awarded a Medal of Honor on behalf of the Estado. Damned right. I like this.
Wicked.
More people should honor us. Yeah, where's our DeCorso medal? So they head back to the inn triumphant, and they're all settling down to rest, but then Little One has an idea. And he gets out the troll jaws, takes them out into the street, and sets them down on the ground. And people don't know what the deal is, but there are whispers like, "Are those trolls' teeth?" And they spread out, giving him a wide berth, which only gets wider when he starts talking. I have no idea if they can hear me in there or not, but I'm going to find out. Trolls, you better hope you can hear me, because I want you out here. Come on, grow yourselves back up. And nothing happens. These things are pretty inanimate. But Little One's like, I want to make a deal. You can either come out and listen to my proposal, or I'll have your jaws encased in solid steel blocks and thrown into the deep sea. I'm waiting. And we go back and forth a couple times, nothing happens. And he waits, and nothing happens. But then a little froth of flesh starts to bubble out of the larger pair. See, I figured. They must have some awareness if they usually pop out at the worst possible time. So the bubbles foam up into flesh, and about a minute later they've risen off the ground and grown into a full troll who snarls something like, "Get up!" And the second smaller troll starts to regrow, though it takes about twice as long. And the Little One's like, "Hi! We kicked your asses using the techniques of the Warblade. Here's my offer. You help us when we go to war against the Diluvians. In exchange, I can teach you my fighting style, teach you to be Warblades. Then, when the war is won, you're free to go. And at that point, if you still want to kill me, I'll be here. I'll duel you."
Do they even understand him?
Well, they did come out when he threatened them. But their larger troll gives an affirmative-sounding grunt, agreeing to help them, assuming a troll's word is any good. And now they have to figure out what to do with them. Little One wants them for some theoretical future war against the Diluvians, because he, and the others, have ambitions of one day taking the fight to the heart of the evil empire, the cities in the Balian archipelago. But right now, they're only level 7, and haven't even fought a monitor yet. That's all way, way off in the future. Right now, They just took in two hulking, man-eating brutes who they can't parade around town or really trust in a fight, and that's before Little One spends a bunch of time trying to train them in powerful martial arts. And Little One's like, we can just leave them where we found them for now. On the road where they were attacking travelers? Yeah, we can't leave them there. They would eat people, and now we'd be responsible. Faced with this quandary, they come up with new travel plans. Since they had wanted to go to Bankton anyway to follow up their war bond tip, now, instead of going through Tark the way they had come, they're going to take the long route, down the West Highway, then looping north into Larrick, right along the edge of the Diluvian-controlled coastline called the Peace Bond. DeCorso's steward is anxious to get home, and GE7 is uncomfortable with the whole troll thing, so those two will split up and take the direct route back to Corso's Chasm with a dwarven caravan. So they get to the Tark-Larrick border and find themselves face to face with a giant sea monster skeleton. Yeah, the Diluvians spent a lot of slave man-hours making the Peace Bond border look super friendly, with this massive thing pointed dwarfward, and 10-foot-tall giant shark-toothed stone pillars every 300 yards, which is extra impressive given that we're 60 miles inland and most of their slaves can only survive an hour out of water. Locals wouldn't dare cross that line or even go near it because of the swarms of invisible Kuatoa warriors lurking on the other side, which Little One could now see was not true, because when he had hit 7th level in Ginneron, he had taken a level in the Dragon Disciple class, almost exclusively because it let him learn an invocation which allows him to see the invisible 24 hours a day. Anyway, not a fishman in sight. Okay kids, we aren't ready to take the war to the KTs quite yet, so remember those moves I taught you, and hang out here till the spring. You think they're actually going to stay here? Pfft, I don't know. But if we leave them here, odds are decent they either get their asses kicked or eat some KTs. That's what passes for a plan these days, so on they go. Past halfling towns, which are an interconnected warren of underground homes with gardens planted on top. Past human towns. Some of the locals put up rune-covered log poles at the town entrance, though Draven said the runes were non-magical. And past weird crystal outcroppings, which were all that remains of the Adar civilization. Well, crystals and the ancient island city of Eloia. But they reach Bankton, which is a huge city with broad avenues leading to the big stone Gothic banks and museums and embassies in the government district, a city designed from the ground up to be a capital. The name the halfling sniper had given them was Corin Dahl, a human who is well connected with some of the more reasonable Warbond factions. That's about all they know, so they settle into an inn, and Angel slinks off to check out her sources. Angel doesn't have, like, regular underworld contacts. Angel's contacts are from a secret organization of assassins, known to outsiders only as the Organization. And her contact in Bankton, who calls himself Hood, tells her about Corindal and where to find him. But that isn't half as interesting as the other news from Hood, which is that there is a bounty on the party. 10,000 gold for the head of the Orc Slayer, plus 5,000 more for the rest. Now, the organization doesn't hunt their own, so when Angel tells him the Orc Slayer and crew are with her, Hood says he'll spread the word not to attack them, but it takes time for information to get around, so in the short term, they need to watch out for a cadre of international assassins, including Nemondai, a ninja assassin from conquered Varandi, Mahran Doraj, a halfling said to be equally deadly with his spiked chain and his psionic spellcasting, Von James, a Vistrian bounty hunter with a big sword whose name implies a noble family, and Auric, the executioner Sturmgewehr, a stoic elven killer. And Angel tells the others, and they're all like, who the hell did we piss off 2 months ago? Orcs? One did escape.
I can't see those guys putting up a bounty. Dark elves?
They live in another dimension. The KTs? There's no way the Diluvians could set up a bounty here. Is there? No. Out of character, the organization was originally founded to fight the KTs. Their mercenary aspects are relatively recent. Anyway, Angel is like, my friend is trying to get the bounty repealed. Seriously, we should just leave town as quickly as possible. And Little One's like, why? They have magic gear. It's like treasure coming right to us. And some of it does. Oh, it does. Next time on Tales from My D&D Campaign.